sort of my main collection. Now we can go over into here, and we find Gabriel Knight 3. Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned. This is the third Gabriel Knight game, and a lot of people would say that it's not that great. I think a lot of people were put off by the fact that it was in 3D, because a lot of people were sort of partial to the, I don't know, animation style. I think it works because the first game was animation. It was sort of drawn, 2D animation. The second one was FMV, and the third one's 3D. It kind of follows the sort of the technological line. And it works in 3D. The camera system's great. It sort of has a freeform camera system where you can move the camera around free of the character. It's a great story. It's about vampires, very supernatural. In this one, Tim Curry's back doing the voice of Gabriel Knight, which is a big plus. And Detective Mosley is back. There he is, Mosley. And just the way those two characters interact, it works very well. It's very funny, and it has a lot of interesting characters in it, some great locales, and for the time, the graphics aren't that bad. I mean, the characters are kind of blocky, sort of has that early 3D look, but some of the textures are quite good, especially for the time. It's got has one puzzle, this one right here. I don't know if anyone remembers that puzzle. That's kind of tricky. It's very hard. I've never done it without a walkthrough, to be honest. But it's a great game. These are pretty common, not very valuable. You see them a lot. Yeah, I actually own 2 copies of them. This one I think I bought at a flea market for a couple bucks, maybe even 50 cents. Not very much. And this one I believe I bought way back. Hey, remember when EB Games used to sell PC games and you could buy used ones? Until they were eaten up by the evil monster GameStop. It just hasn't been the same since. But yeah, so I got it for $5, which seems like a lot now, but at the time this game was somewhat new. I don't want to say super new, but it was only a few years. So, $5 for this game, it's definitely well worth it. Like I said, it's great. Jane Jensen writing again, great stuff. Love to see more Gabriel Knight, but probably not going to happen. Not much of a market for it, though. I don't know. Adventure games do seem to be making a comeback. With the release of that Back to the Future game, all those Nancy Drew games that seem to be pretty popular. They seem to release one of those every couple months or so, and they redid a lot of the original Monkey Island games, the special editions. We even got a new Monkey Island game, which sucked. Well, is it still coming out? No, they finished it. I wasn't a big fan. I haven't finished it yet, but that's a discussion for another day, I guess. Here's another copy of Pandora Directive, so I'm not going to go into that again. I own multiple copies of these games a lot of times because, I'll find them somewhere and I'll pick them up, and then I'll find out that one doesn't have a manual. So, I try to keep these complete as possible, so, sometimes I'll have multiple copies of it. I don't know. Maybe that's hoarding. Maybe I should sell some of these on eBay, and that way those people that want to play them can actually get them, and get them at a decent price. I wouldn't gouge like some of the people do. I mean, I've seen some of these games go for $60, $70, $80, $90. It's kind of crazy. I usually won't pay more than $30. $30 is usually my limit. Depends on what it is. But yeah, I mean, if it's, I'll pay half the cost of a modern new game. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to skip to the first one. It's easier to talk about when I do them in order. Here we have Shivers. It's a first-person point-and-click adventure. It's a little bit different from the other games in that you don't have really an inventory system. I mean, you do have enough of one to hold the clay jars, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've played this. But that's about it. It's very, puzzle-based. You do, navigate around this sort of museum-type place. But, just to go from one puzzle to the next, it's a great game. If you're into sort of puzzle games, a lot of them are challenging. This is probably one of the first games I ever completed, totally. When I was a kid, I used to, start games, and then I'd get to a part that was too hard, and, back then there wasn't internet to look up. Well, there was internet. I didn't have it at the time. But you know, you couldn't look up strategies or walkthroughs or anything. So usually I would just give up. But this is great. You know, it's all 3D. It's, you know, very basic 3D for the time, but still, it's quite good. And in fact, I'll probably pick it up and play it again someday. So yeah, okay. Shivers 2, I never played. I always wanted to get it, but I just never got around to it. Ooh, and look, original soundtrack, music, rock videos, directionally specific sound. Crazy. Has realistic blood. I believe there was an online option to this. I'm not sure how that worked. Oh, it says right there, chat on the internet with other players during your game, redesign puzzles and share them with others. I'm not sure how that worked. I wonder if the servers are still up. Probably not, but that's alright. But maybe I'll give it a shot just for shits and giggles, assuming I can get my system that I play these games on to hook up to the internet. I think it only has a modem, but we'll take a look at that in a little bit. So yeah, I've never played this. I would like to someday, maybe after I replay the first one. I can go into this. I don't think they're connected in any way, but that's alright. Here's another copy of The Last Express. This is a re-release. I bought this on accident thinking it was the original, but it wasn't. So, whatever. Sealed? I don't know. Probably doesn't have much value. That's alright. Here we have a sealed Realms of the Haunting. Now, I'm not even sure. This is an adventure game. My parents, this was one of my parent finds. They found it at a flea market and picked it up and thought I might like it. Apparently this is the limited edition director's cut, which, you know, having never played this game, it's hard to say what exactly that includes. I have no idea. It does have a special hint guide though, so if I do ever want to crack this baby open, I'll have a place to start. And you'll see with a lot of these games, you're seeing a lot of the same developers. You know, Interplay, LucasArts, Sierra. A lot of these companies made all these games, and it was just sort of limited to them. Borderbund made a bunch of them. You know, like I said, they did the Myst series and all that. But I think the most famous ones are probably the Sierra games and the LucasArts games, with Sierra being the main maker of FMV type games, while LucasArts pretty much stuck to the sort of 2D animation type games. But, you know, you see a few other developers in there as well. But yeah, mostly the same guys. So, I don't know. Looking at the photos on the back, it doesn't really look like an adventure game. I mean, it looks like there's some fighting going on there. I mean, look at all those skeletons. I don't know. Looks like you might have to fight them. Not sure. It does use FMV. And I love this high-res 640 by 480 full-screen SVGA mode. Ooh, talk about high resolution, 640 by 480. I think my phone has a higher resolution than that. Again, you have that sort of rough rating system, animated violence, animated blood and gore. You know, a lot of these games weren't too violent, except maybe the Phantasmagoria series and a few others. But other than that, they're, you know, you didn't see too much violence in these games. So anyway, yeah, I don't really know much about that game, but who knows, maybe I'll get to it someday. That's Alone in the Dark. I don't know, that's not an adventure game. My mom bought it on accident and she just gave it to me, so whatever. It's just been sitting in there. We won't even get into that. A lot of people like that game, but you know, it's on floppy disks. That's another thing with me in old adventure games. A lot of them came on floppy disks, but I really don't care about the floppy disk version because, to me, one of the main appeals is sort of the voice acting that you see in a lot of them. So, you know, if it comes on a floppy, it's gonna be text-based, so I don't really care. Over here we have, we're starting to get to the end of my collection here. We have The Longest Journey. This is the small box edition, so obviously it's not the original release. Actually, just tonight, and while I was transferring the files over, I actually bought the large box version. I found one on eBay, and it was, I don't know if I'd say reasonably priced. They actually were wanting $60 for it, I believe. But it had a make an offer option, and I just offered $30, you know, thinking there's no way they would accept half, and they actually did. So I actually bought it for $30 just to have the larger box. So you can see how serious I am about this. So maybe I'll throw this one up on eBay. I really should go through some of my duplicates here and list them. You know, I mean, people do ask high prices for these things, and I guess you could say they're valuable, but the question is there someone there to buy it? Obviously I bought some of them, but how many people like me actually collect these things? So it's hard to say, put a true value on these things. There's Psychonauts, not an adventure game. Mafia, Half-Life 2, of course. I do a lot of modern gaming as well. In fact, I do more modern gaming than sort of these older games. These I just kind of keep as a collection. I don't get to play them as much as I'd like to, but every once in a while I'll take one out and at least start it. Whether or not I finish it is kind of, But it's weird. Whenever I play the Monkey Island games or the Gabriel Knight games or the Broken Sword games, I tend to finish those all the way through, while some of these other ones I don't really get to. Shadow of I have this adventure collection. These are newer adventure games. This was just given to me as a gift. I haven't played any of these. I did play Mysterious Island, but not from this box. I borrowed it from a friend a few years back. Pretty good game. I'm not really into new adventure games as much as the older ones. I feel they're sort of dumbed down and they've lost a lot of their charm. But Shadow of Destiny, this is I guess you could call it an adventure game made by Konami. The thing you'll notice about most of these games is they're American-made games. This is one of the few Japanese adventure games that I actually found myself liking. It's a newer one. It's not as old as these. It's completely 3D. In fact, I believe it was released on the PS2 as well. So it's not that old. I don't even know why I still have it. It's not something that would be worth playing more than once, but it's kind of cool. It has a time travel element, so it kind of explores that whole time travel mythos, I guess. So if you're into that, you might enjoy that game. Indigo Prophecy, garbage. That's really all we need to say about that. And they also came out with Heavy Rain. It's made by the same people that made Heavy Rain, which I own. I bought it recently. I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. It's hard to say how I feel about that. I can't seem to sit down and play it for any length of time before I just get bored with it. Broken Sword, The Sleeping Dragon. This is the third Broken Sword game, I believe. This was its first leap to 3D. It's a great game. I enjoyed it when I played it, and there's really nothing much more to say than that. It pretty much just continues George's adventures with, mystery and suspense, all that stuff. Made by the same guys that did the first two, Revolution. In fact, I believe they did the fourth one as well. So it's kind of cool to see the same company handling this IP, over and over again. They do a great job with it. I've yet to play a bad Broken Sword game. I mean, this does include some platform levels, which are hit or miss, and some stealth missions, which I understand. I'm sure the adventure company kind of said that, hey, you gotta take these beyond point and click, so their hands were probably tied. So I was glad just to see a new Broken Sword game when this came out. Same thing with Angel of Death. I've just started Angel of Death, in fact, today. I just installed it and played the first few minutes of it, and there's still some, box dragging stuff going on, but you know what, I'm just glad to get some of these new games. Same thing with the new Monkey Island game. I said I wasn't too impressed with it, but at the end of the day, I'll take it, because it's a new Monkey Island game, so of course I'm not gonna not play it. So anyway, Escape from Monkey Island, the fourth in the series. A lot of people don't like it. I can understand why, but I still find it quite enjoyable. The writing is still there, so that's what counts for me. A lot of people don't like it when these games change from, one sort of format to another. So when they go from, 2D to 3D or from 2D to FMV, some people have problems with that. For me, it's all about the writing. So as long as that's still there, even gameplay comes second. I can deal with a game if it has bad controls. I can just kind of make it work. As long as the story is there to keep me going through it, make it worth it. That's good.